What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another podcast from your favorite Jacksonville Jaguars show, a member of the Fan Battle Sports Network. I am your host, Matthew G., joined by my co-host, Cody Cold. What's up, man?
What's going on, everybody?
It's a Friday, man. We're doing an afternoon delight show, throwing people for a curveball. Welcome to the off season.
Here we go.
So, what's up, man? What's it like being a division champ in the off season as a Jaguars fan?
It's a brand new feeling. Kind of hurts to say. It's taking some getting used to because usually we're being hit left and right with all sorts of Jaguars news, and it's been slow. It's been slow media days out there, and people are just kind of like struggling to find things to talk about. So, the only crazy thing so far has been the stadium deal.
Yeah.
And that was fun, but it's like,
It's worn off.
yeah, I don't know. Like I was thinking about getting like a black uh Jaguars jersey and like custom made, putting like the number 3 on the back and then putting Earnhardt on the yeah. It's like just a special Daytona edition of the jersey. So,
Have we heard any news from the front on that?
no,
No, nothing.
yeah, nothing concrete anyways, whatever,
Yeah.
it's all. But just even if we don't or whatever, I was still thinking about doing it, to be honest.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. You bring back some good memes down the road. And we're like, hey, why does he have an Earnhardt jersey? And then you can go into about this whole discussions and how it
Well,
led to us playing at Ridgeview High School.
yeah. It's like, every time I buy a jersey, like even this one I got on, is the Minshew jersey. They don't stay on the team for long or whatever, so it's like, I'm having a tough time with buying an actual player jersey. Because there's a lot of Jaguar fans that feel like if you buy a jersey of a player, it's a curse or whatever, and he's not going to be on the team like next season. And it's true, man. There's so many people, so many Jaguar fans with closets full of jerseys that they're like regret, or not. Not necessarily regret having or whatever, but just like, it's they can't really wear it out to the stadium or whatever.
Right.
If you go to the stadium, there's still people that have like Cecil Shorts
Right.
jerseys, and just all sorts of Luke Jokel jerseys.
Oh, man.
I bought a Fournette jersey. Yeah, man, it's the only cool one though, and so I bought my wife a Tebow jersey because
Yeah.
she's a Florida fan, right? But it was like, that was like pure entertainment value. You know what I mean? Like there was nothing really going on other than Urban coming in and all this stuff, whatever. But it put the Jaguars in the spotlight, which I thought was a really good move.
Yeah.
Because next thing, like, nobody's talking about the Jaguars. Next thing you know, we're on ESPN like constantly, and Tebow's right there, whatever. Like on, was he on CBS Sports or something like that? Anyway, so even though he didn't see the field or whatever, that means I got that jersey for cheaper, So
Yeah.
and she gets to wear it as like a Florida fan or whatever. Like Tebow was on my NFL team too, like for a little bit. Not officially, but
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big time sports memorabilia collector, both cards and jerseys and whatnot. And for the for me, my personal collection, the only like jerseys that I really bought are of, like Jamie Smith, Mark
yeah,
Brunell. I have a nice. This helmet right here was signed by Travis Etienne. It wasn't super expensive, but you're right. Like it's tough forking over money for players that are on the team, but who knows? In 2 years, this guy could be on the Browns or
yeah,
something. I don't know.
yeah.
But you're right. You're right. And we're
That
such a young franchise that there aren't many players like Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell, Mark Brunell. you know, we don't. I mean, we have a few like the ones I named, but it's not like you're the Cowgirls and the Pats and all these other teams that have a ton of legacy players that they can invest some money in for jerseys.
So I've been looking for a Josh Scobie jersey for a long time, and I was thinking about just getting a custom made one, or whatever, because he told me, and I have a screenshot of it, that if I ever got one, that he would sign it. So I think that's pretty dope, and he's here in town, so it's like, it wouldn't be hard to find. But I wanted an old school one, man. But they're like, they're either they're either like super expensive, whatever, or they're like ratty, And I was like, it's hard like getting hand me downs. But I was like, they did all the official like re-releases of jerseys. They had the Freddie T one, they had the Keenan McCardell,
Yeah.
they had Jimmy Smith. And then they didn't have Josh Scobie, and I was like really kind of upset at like the NFL and the organization, or the Jaguars organization, whatever, for not putting him up there, because he's the all-time scorer for the
Yeah.
Jaguars. I mean, he's been in on the team for like so long, whatever. He has like a bunch of different jersey options. So that one kind of made me hot.
Josh.
I wanted to say the other thing. That helmet, that color combination, man, that's fire.
Oh, this one? Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
The teal. One thing about Josh Scobie, while we were talking, I looked him up real quick. I didn't know this, but he has the NFL record. It's tied for the most 50-plus yard field goals in a game. That's 3.
Yeah. I mean, people don't realize like how much of a badass he is. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous, dude. Like, I don't know. I met him, and he's who made me a Jaguars fan. Because I lived down here for a while, and I didn't. My NFL team at the time was the Cowboys, sadly, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was young, didn't know much about life. Anyway, I moved to Jacksonville, and I had that NBD, never been to Dallas syndrome. Yeah, so like I go to a couple of Jaguars games, and I was like, why not be a fan of a team that I could actually go and support? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I met Josh Scobie like outside the stadium, and my stepdad, his last name, my ex-stepdad, I should say, his last name was Scobie, and he told me the story of like, him growing up with, like, Josh was younger or whatever, and he was like, he was a kicker, and then he was friends with Martin Gramatica.
That's throwing it back.
Yeah. So I was like, my stepdad, my ex-stepdad told me that you were like, are close, whatever. And he was like, I don't know him. And I was like, what? And I was like, the way he just tells it, whatever, like, y'all are like buddies or whatever. So I go back to my stepdad or whatever, and I was like, I just talked to Josh Scobie, and he said that he didn't know you. And then he was like, oh, I mean, he was like a distant relative. Oh, like it went from y'all were close to all of a sudden now it's like way down the road. And then I talked to Josh again or whatever, and he told him that story, and he laughed, like he thought it was hilarious. I mean, he's a cool guy. He's a great sense of humor. He's the all-time scorer for the Jaguars. He's just a great dude. Yeah. Welcome to the Josh Scobie hour.
Yeah. All right, so let's dive into with it being the off season, there's not a whole lot of action going on, especially when you're a winner like we are. There's not a lot of moves you're making. So we do have a few things, and it's mostly former players and or players that have yet to be signed that were on the team last year. And so we're going to start out with Smoot. Mr. Smoot, the Jaguars have not signed Dwayne Smoot yet. Word is that they seem to be hesitant on signing him because of his Achilles injury last year.
Yeah,
so his injury history might be keeping them from signing him. And obviously not just the Jaguars are worried about it, because he would have signed some elsewhere, right? So that's something to keep an eye on. The last word out of the Jaguars camp was all the way back in March. And Trent Baalke had said, quote, working hard with his agent to retain the 6-year veteran. So I wouldn't mind seeing him back, but what they say about football, the best ability is availability, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, shout out to Smoot too. Smoot TV is dope. He gave me a lot of insight on what it's like to be, a player for the Jaguars through his YouTube video. So yeah, if y'all want to go check him out, man, I would highly recommend it. Like even he does like meal prep stuff like that, and it's
Mm,
funny.
cool.
But yeah, man, he's a good dude. He's got a good personality, man. But it's like, I mean, if you're injured, they're paying for your salary, and then they're paying for your injury too, and then they're not getting
Right,
any production. So it's like
right.
it's
And
just, it's
he's
just it's just a red flag for like any NFL team, and it's sad.
yeah. I
It's a
mean,
business. It's a business at the end of the day,
I'd still like to see him back just because he was a solid part of the rotation. I mean, he wasn't our starter that, we told to go out there and change the game up, right? He was valuable depth. The past 2 years, he's had 11 sacks. So, he has made impact on some games, and again, as a rotational player, he helps, um, keep those starters up and, um, driving. So,
I
yeah,
mean,
hopefully we can get something done there. Hopefully there's nothing. An Achilles injury is nothing to scoff at. So, you know, on the personal side, I hope he recovers, back to 100%, and we do sign him. But it's got to work for both sides.
right?
And then the next individual, we'll talk about Evan Ingram. You brought this up before the
Yeah.
show.
So Mike Dempsey, who is coming on Sunday.
And who's Mike Dempsey for those that may not know?
Mike Dempsey is the host of Jaguars Today, and he's on 1010XL, and he is a local voice in your ear. You can't get away from him really. Like I used to work at a dealership, and we turned the trucks on or whatever, and they're already on 1010XL because somebody was listening to it before then or whatever. So yeah, you hear his voice. Yeah, man. So I'm excited about that one, man. Like coming as a fan of the team, whatever, to actually being able to talk to people that get paid to talk about the Jaguars. So it's pretty dope. Yeah, he shared this thing on Twitter, said that there was like 10 days, which I think he shared it yesterday, so it's probably 9 days now. But until like you can't, what was it? Sign the players.
Yeah, the franchise tag.
Yeah. Let me see real quick. I'll just read it word for word.
Cool.
Instead of nope, that's not it. That's not it. Why does this always happen to me?
Well, while we're waiting for him to pull it up, a word from our sponsor. This could be your segment. That's right. If you're watching and or listening to this show and you have a potential sponsor, this could have been your spot. Brought to you by you.
That's
Did that
funny.
cover it up?
Oh my god!
I mean,
Apparently, I didn't. I figured out what happened. I didn't share it to our
the
Twitter page.
Twitterverse.
Yeah. So anyway, 10 days until the deadline for NFL teams to sign franchise tag players for a long-term deal. And then the Jaguars Today question was, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being totally confident, how confident are you that the Jaguars will sign tight end Evan Ingram to a multi-year contract? And I'm at like a 5, whatever. This can go either way, to be honest. Because we got Britton Strange, and but Evan Ingram put up like phenomenal numbers last year.
He did.
But I think that he wants that bag or whatever, and I don't think the Jaguars are to be ready to like give it to him. Ultimately, because we got to re-sign some of our players, some of our veteran players now, in the near future. So we're trying to like come up on our money to get people like we got to resign Trevor Lawrence in the future. Uh, a couple other players. I think is Josh Allen. Do you know more about contracts than me?
I know a little bit.
Oh,
A
you know
little
a little bit.
Um, I do know that. So this will be a contract year for Josh Allen, right? So
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
um,
that's what I was
he'll
thinking
be
of.
eligible for an extension after this year. So you would anticipate with him knowing that he will play up to what we think he's capable of playing to. So um, with Evan Ingram, I think it's interesting there because we did draft Strange, right?
Yeah,
And I think the hope there is that he develops into, you know, potentially top 5 pass catching tight end, right? And from what I've heard coming out of the camp, the Jaguars camp, is that he performed well from what they've seen on the field. Now I know that's been in underwear and whatnot, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But I think ideally for both sides, you get not necessarily like a 5-year contract set up, but maybe like a 3-year contract setup with Evan Ingram. And that allows Evan Ingram to continue to build on his performance that he had this year over the next few years, as well as develop Strange. So once Evan Ingram's contract comes up, we can go ahead and move in and use Strange moving forward. So we keep our age down and we stay consistent at the tight end spot with arguably the best quarterback in the history of mankind, Trevor Lawrence. Um, just for a note, Evan Ingram last year it was his best season, 73 catches for 766 yards and 4 touchdowns. Um, now I know not everybody had watched every game last year. I know for myself there were some games where I may have dozed off, but he those 73 catches were very impactful on games. There's some players out there who, you know, they they get the catches, they get the yards, but maybe they don't seem impactful. Maybe it's because we got the wins on the other side as well. Um, but he definitely attributed to the successful season that we had. So I, for one, hope we do get that figured out because if we put him on the franchise tag this year, um, that forces our hand next year. I know that we have a couple players that will be coming up for contracts, and you only have one franchise tag. I mean, there's different types of franchise tags, but ideally, you don't have to use that, especially on the same player 2 years in a row because it just keeps going up and up and up. So, um, and right now, the Jaguars. Let's see. We have 15 million in cap space right now.
yeah.
That's
I just don't feel like this is his permanent residency or whatever after this year. I
after
don't.
Strange.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but it's just like okay, well, what's strange? Doug Peterson got the guy that he wanted or whatever, and Evan Ingram was the guy that they needed at the time. And then he filled that gap phenomenally well. But uh, yeah, I think like the money is going to be exactly what you said. Whatever they're gonna write him out on the franchise tag, and then he's going to be going somewhere else. And a lot of players like end up doing that. Like it's like the team hop. It's like you could buy a whole NFL jersey collection off of like one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Evan's going to be like that in the future. It's just like I. It's weird though because like the production value is there, but just I don't know. People like um, players like want a, a lot of money nowadays, and
Yeah.
they're playing a game. It's kind of like when you go to work at a company or whatever, and they pay you a salary, and then it's like, if you want more money, then you have to go to another company. Yeah, it's so it makes sense. Whatever, good for him.
So if Evan Ingram ends up signing the contract, that's the average. I believe it's the average of the top 5 at his position. And I believe that puts him at about 11, a little over 11 million. To put that in perspective, the 5 players above him, Zach Ertz is at 11.6. Mark Andrews for the Ravens is at 13.6 million. Travis Kelce 14.8. Hunter Henry for the Patriots is at 15.5, and George Kittle's at 18 million. So, and
That's
then right below him is T.J. Hawkinson, who I think he's got a lot of potential. I just don't think he's hit that. So, I think there's a significant drop off once you leave Evan Ingram. I think there's a lot of talent below him. For instance, Kyle Pitts. I don't think he's reached his potential. But I think he's in the top 5 for sure. So, do the Jaguars want to pay him as such? That's what we got to figure out. I think he's worth it.
yeah. And they got tight ends. They got tight ends like Darnell Washington coming into the league too.
Yeah, that's true. Or Strange. For those not listening, or for those not watching, you can go to our socials and comment on the show live. For those that are listening after the live show, Gabriel Ruiz from Facebook said, #not a fumble, #forward pass, #Jaguars won, #Jaguars hosted a playoff game and beat the Chargers in a historic win, #the Jaguars lost to the eventual Super Bowl champs.
#Kings of the South.
What's up, Ruiz? We appreciate you, man. Always love his comments.
Dude, can I just mention something real quick about that game? Because so when he's saying not a fumble, forward pass, whatever, he's talking about Josh. Oh my God, what was his name? Anyway, Josh something, Josh Dobbs. Yeah, the astronaut. So I'm a Georgia fan or whatever. So we played Tennessee one year, and there's this thing called the what was it? The Dobnell boot or whatever is what Tennessee fans were trying to turn it into, whatever. But Josh Dobbs threw a Hail Mary pass that just ruined my hopes for the season. And I was like, so I'm at that game, not the Georgia game, but I'm at the Jaguars Titans game, and I see Josh Dobbs back there, and I see him moving the ball a little bit, and I was like, what is going on, you know? And then I was like, oh man, they're close, and I was like, is he gonna break my heart again? Is Josh Dobbs gonna be the guy to put this season to put a final nail in the coffin kind of thing? And nope. And he threw an interception. Or no, it was a fumble or whatever, and they picked it up and scored on him. And I was like, man, that's insane, dude. And that the cardiac cats, that moniker, oh my God, it's so fitting, dude.
It is.
Because when you're a Jaguars fan, there has been so many times we've been watching the Jaguars where it's wow, it would not be expected. It's not just comfortable wins for us. It's no. It's coming back from 0 at the half. It's like catching fumbles off of, or catching interceptions off of Dak Prescott.
That's right.
And Lamar Jackson. Yeah. So it's nuts.
Cardiac cats is right. So
yeah.
So finishing up with Evan Ingram, hopefully we sign him. I hope it's not the franchise tag. I'd rather see something long term. I think the guy deserves it. I think we deserve it. I think T-Law deserves it. But we'll see. If not, hopefully, if we can't get a long term, hopefully, ideally, we get him on that tag. Strange develops over the year and becomes a top 5 perennial tight end, and everything's great. So
let me just add this too. I'm gonna ask this question, and I'm gonna post this later on Twitter. But is Evan Ingram good, or is Trevor Lawrence that good where he made a tight end that didn't have a good production value with his previous team? To all of a sudden he's one of the best tight ends in the league. So is Evan Ingram good, or is Trevor Lawrence just made him look good?
I think Evan Ingram is good. Also, I think Trevor Lawrence is one of those athletes that has the ability to make others play better. So I think maybe Evan. I mean, there's a possibility that he brought. Not only did Evan Ingram play up to what he was capable of, but there's also a possibility that Trevor Lawrence helped him go up a little bit of a notch. But um, it's a good question because there are definitely players out there who may under the right circumstances outplay their own talent because of the players around them. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you had people at the Giants, whatever, that like don't like Evan. They
Well,
said like
he was injured a lot there. That kind of hurt him there.
Yeah, but then you see like Daniel Jones like has a season that he had last year or whatever, and you're like, well,
That was coaching. That was damn good coaching for the Giants, which is good on our part because remember we lost to him. They made Daniel Jones look like freaking Michael Vick out there.
Oh, dude, it was insane. It
was the worst.
The Giants and the Lions did pretty much the same thing to us.
Yes, but fortunately, both of them ended up being all right. So,
right.
Whew.
Yeah. Cardiac cats again.
That's right. All right, so moving on from Evan Ingram, you brought this up as well. What was the news you heard coming out of his camp?
So, quarterback coach said that he had a gut feeling that Minshew would start week 1 against the Jaguars.
Now, not the Colts quarterback coach, but the quarterback's personal coach, right? Dane Thompson.
Yep. I'm excited for this one, man. I get to see 2 of my favorite quarterbacks on the same field at the same time. Whatever, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
I love what Minshew did for the city of Jacksonville was amazing. A lot of people there's football fans in this town, obviously. There's Georgia fans, there's FSU fans, there's Florida fans. They're everywhere. But they love college, and they don't really, sometimes they don't really like the NFL too much unless there's some sort of like hype coming from it.
Right. So
Minshew turned this city into like not so much of an NFL town or whatever, even though we have an NFL team, into like people that were like, let's go watch them play, or and there was like a culture around it, the Uncle Rico thing or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people were talking about the Jaguars more. So he was just exciting. It was exciting when our team wasn't that great. We lost a lot. but they had some ESPN highlights of like Minshew Magic. And dude, I love seeing Minshew Magic. I don't even care if it's going to be against us or whatever. That's going to be fun to watch. I mean, I know that we're going to walk out of there with the W, but it's going to be fun to watch Minshew again. Oh, got this damn jersey on. Look at this.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I miss Minshew Mania. He is one of the few former Jaguar players that I will continue to collect his sports cards as well as his memorabilia. In fact, I have probably one of the better Gardner Minshew collections on planet Earth. I'll have to show him one day, but it'll be interesting. I think knowing where Anthony Richardson is coming from and the year that he had in college, I think it would benefit Anthony Richardson to have Minshew start. I think, and this is kind of I haven't looked at the roster recently. This is mostly just going off of historically recently with the Colts. The Colts typically have had a decent team from top to bottom. What's killed them recently is they've had a 50-year-old quarterback. B, injuries have been killing them. But typically they do have a decent roster that can compete week in and week out. And so I think with that, you throw Minshew in there, you let Anthony Richardson not have any sort of responsibilities as far as being a leader goes. You just want him to be a sponge and soak it all in and just kind of sit back and watch Minshew Mania and his magic. I mean, they kind of have the same skill set. I mean, Minshew, we saw it. I mean, the dude is a magician. He's what Johnny Manziel wanted to be when he came to the NFL.
Right.
And Anthony Richardson supposedly has no. Anthony Richardson is more athletic than Minshew is, and so
Right.
if he sits back and just watches for a little bit, I think starting Minshew is the way to go. But again, I don't know the Colts roster from top to bottom, so that's just my take on it.
So shout out to T.Y. McGill, man. That's the homie. Me and him went to the same high school. And he plays for the Colts, and it sucks because like I want his jersey, but I'm a Jaguars fan, so it's like it's a conflict of interest. But yeah, man, I'm tired of like brand new quarterbacks getting thrown directly into the fire like as soon as they get into the NFL. Like it makes no sense, and it's not how it used to operate. And that's how we got people like Aaron Rodgers, for instance, who stayed under Brett Favre for that long, to learn from him. Even though if you like listen to his stories or whatever, he was more like the water boy, and Brett Favre didn't teach him nothing. But he had to pick up on something, you know what I mean? Because you look at him now. So yeah, and I'm not saying that Gardner is Brett Favre by any stretch, but it would give him time to progress and to learn the system before he just gets tossed on the field. And we've seen that time and time again, and how it doesn't work, and how it's not a good system to just put a freshman quarterback right on the field like as soon as they get to the NFL. It's a quicker pace out there. They haven't learned the system fully. It's like kill or be killed. And unfortunately for a lot of them, they get put down hard. And it's a huge wake up call for them. And sometimes they don't make it back from that because their confidence is shot. So I don't wish that on any quarterback, even if it's for a rival team. So I'm happy that they're going this route. That they're going to give Anthony Richardson some time to learn and grow before they just toss him out there. Because I love it when the division has competition, and I feel like the Colts could be that. They're more. I think it's Jaguars, Colts, and then Titans, Texans, right now, and that's just in my head. But it's so they're the next they're the next biggest threat in our division right now. So, and I hope they get better because I want to watch games that are exciting.
Well, I'd have to say I differ on a few of those things. And so, despite all the kumbaya that we have on the show, on occasion there are times that we do different opinions. So, first off, I don't agree that you should sit all quarterbacks. I think there's just this is a multi-billion-dollar industry right now. So these owners who have developed empires themselves are looking for a return on investment right away. And I think that's possible. And I think we've seen a lot of cases where that's been the case recently. 10, 15 years ago, maybe not the case. But I think now with all the science that's out there, the opportunities to develop these players at such a young age, going from Pee-wee all the way through high school. I mean, the camps, the schools that are dedicated to like football, like down in Orlando, I can't remember what that academy is called, but it's essentially just prepping players to play in the NFL. I think, again, 10 to 15 years ago, should we sit the players? Yes. I think now, we are in a day and age where the players are coming in and they are very capable to be able to start from day one. And so I guess I would disagree with you there. Yes, I think some players, like I do think Anthony Richardson does need to sit. I think he just isn't developed mentally as far as, being able to handle the pressure. But other players, CJ Stroud, I think he can come in day one and play and be effective. And a lot of that's also on the team, making sure that they're prepping the players, hey, listen, you're a really good quarterback. You were drafted by our team because we suck. So It's not going to be an overnight thing where we're going to win. As long as they just set these expectations with these players, and that's also another thing that it's hard to juggle because a lot of these players are used to being the top dog everywhere they go and win. Like, look at Trevor Lawrence. The dude won every level until he came to the NFL and then he lost. But he had the mental capacity to be able to handle that losing and overcome it. It also helped that we got rid of the toxicity in Urban Meyer. And then, what was the other one you're talking about? Gosh, what did you say at the very end?
Oh no, I was I don't know.
What were
I
you
was so
saying?
entranced by what you were saying that I forgot.
I can't remember what you'd said.
Oh, like I hope the Colts get their stuff together, whatever, because I love competition in the division.
Oh no, and I differ on that. My favorite kind of competition is where we destroy and squash the opponent, 50-0, Madden style on recruit. That's what I want to see. I want to see us. I want people to be like, "Are they all on steroids?" That's what I want them to ask.
It's boring.
Nah, win, 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 baby, win. So.
Nah, because it's like, oh well, all the Jags did was play the Colts. Like when we win like phenomenally, it's like insane. It's there's once there's that level of competition, and there's like there's nothing they could say. Because they're right now they're like, oh well, you're in a weak division. It's pretty much a guarantee you get into the playoffs or whatever. That's what they're gonna say at the end of this year. I mean, this coming up season, whatever. That's what they're gonna say. Once we get to the playoffs, they'll be like, "Well, you're just in the AFC South, or whatever." And then they're like, whoever we play, whatever, they're gonna be like the Chargers, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're gonna like, "Oh, well, it's just the Chargers." Like they choke in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So it's like, who do the Jaguars have to beat in order for them to shut up?
I mean,
that's what I want. That's the type of stuff that I want to win a huge meaningful game. And
that's the Super Bowl.
And yeah, well, I mean, for me, that would have been the Kansas City Chiefs. I said
for everybody.
well, I said last year or whatever. I said if we beat the Chiefs or whatever, I'm getting a Jaguars tattoo. And I don't have a Jaguars tattoo because I know how much beating a team like that in a stage like that would mean. But right now it's like, if we beat everybody in the AFC South twice, nobody's gonna care, like, because nobody's looking at these other teams like they even matter right now.
But see, that same argument, say we go 1-1 against everybody in the division, then they're like, "See, the Jaguars who we thought they were, they're not very good because it's a weak division." Like if the teams are weak, whether we beat them all or go 500 against them all, it's going to be, hey, they're not that good. But I think on the field, whether we beat them by 50 or by 5, you can tell whether a team is good or not, right?
But that's what I'm saying. If like the Colts started like they beat the Chiefs in the regular season. I mean, beating the Chiefs in the regular season doesn't really make too much of a difference. But
No, because we beat the Bills a few years ago. I mean, we beat them like a drum, and they were much better than we were.
Right. But I'm just saying, if they go out and consistently do that, if they beat other teams from other divisions, whatever, if the AFC South was like one of the better divisions in football, whatever, then I think that that credit would come to whoever wins this division, just like it does with other teams. So
yeah, well, that, like, when I say I want a good game to me is when we beat them, by 50 points. That's not just in our division; that's everywhere.
Yeah,
I want to see that. That's my kind of game again.
Well,
Super Bowl.
I'm like only here on this podcast because I was in the comments saying Jags by 50.
Yeah.
And then that caught on or whatever. So it's like I say that knowing that it's going to be like a close game sometimes or whatever. But other times or whatever, I honestly think that we could put 50 on some heads out there. So it's like it's a toss up.
I mean, they say any given Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the division. It's really any given Sunday in the division. So oh crap. Okay, cool. Sorry, my computer's freaked out. I did want to touch base on something this past week. Jamal Agnew, I believe he was in London last week, and I guess the teams go over during the offseason to kind of promote the NFL, especially the Jaguars, since they'll be there back-to-back games. Jamal Agnew was being interviewed on a podcast, and he happened to talk about Calvin Ridley, and this is what he said. He said the NFL got to watch out for the Jaguars offense with the addition of Calvin Ridley. And then he said, let's see, where is it? I don't want to misquote him. He said, you just watch him out there. He's a mismatch nightmare. Again, this is Agnew on a podcast last week. He said, in my opinion, I don't think anybody can guard him in the league.
Wasn't he talking about the new kid, the new running back?
No, Calvin Ridley.
Bigsby?
He's talking Calvin Ridley.
I thought he was talking about Tank Bigsby on that second one.
He's talking about Calvin Ridley.
Mismatch nightmare?
Mm-hmm. Route running?
Yeah. Okay. That's weird. I wonder why I thought that. Anyway.
Yeah.
I keep telling, because we're in this fan battle sports, and there's also a fan battle group on Facebook. So if you're listening, go follow that. But if we talk trash about each other and whatever, and one of the main things that I was telling, especially like Titans fans, because they're like for whatever reason they just don't believe. But Calvin Ridley, as soon as he stepped into a Jaguars uniform, became the best receiver in this division. And I wholeheartedly agree that. And they're like, even though he hasn't played a down in football since this blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean,
Christian Kirk might have something to say about that, but yeah.
Yeah. And he would be number 2 in the division. So it's like our wide receiver core is the best in our division right now. And that's 100%. That's not an exaggeration. Like when
that's
I say
not fandom. That's not fandom. That's not fanboy. That's 100%.
Right. Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. Now, I will say the Colts do have Michael Pittman Jr., and that guy's a legit wide receiver, but a whole wide receiving
core. Else? Yeah, who else?
It's us. Yeah, you're right.
It's Michael Pittman and
yeah. Well, the Titans have A.J. Brown, right? They'd never trade him away, right?
Yeah, dude. I don't understand why they would do that.
Yeah, so I guess we have to. Oh wait, that's right. They're stupid.
Traded away A.J. Brown. He gone.
So, yeah.
Oh man.
No, it'll be interesting to see. He's looked great on film, right? As far as running around in his underwear, and I guess he posts a lot of his workouts, and he looks great there. But they say there's a difference between being in shape and then in football shape. So, we'll see once he gets out on the field. But I think he had a year off, and he's that much more fresh than everyone else. And we got a young quarterback. I mean, our team just looks great. I think our offense is going to be just so explosive. It's going to be so much fun to watch. And Calvin Ridley and Kirk, I mean, it's going to be great watching them play off of each other. And then, of course, Zay Jones and Etienne and Ingram. I mean, it's just, man, it's going to be so much fun this year.
And your boy Agnew.
I hope, again, we've talked about it before. I love Agnew, but I hope we save him for special teams because he is special. He's special. So keep him fresh for that.
Me personally, and I'm gonna say this or whatever. And I know this might be controversial, but Zay Jones dropped like 7 passes in a game last year. It seems like
he did. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
And I would much rather have Agnew in that position than Zay. I know people love Zay. There's people that love Zay.
I like Zay a lot. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, but I love Agnew more. I'm gonna say that. Right here.
Well, I love Agnew more because I think but if we're talking about wide receiver, strictly playing the wide receiver position, I'd rather see Zay. But if I had to get rid of one off of my team, it would be Zay, just because of the impact that Agnew makes on the entire game from the special teams. If you take special teams out of it, I'm keeping Zay.
I'd probably put Tank at special teams, and then I'd put Agnew at wide receiver.
No, man, you can't take that. It's like taking Devin Hester out of the off the special teams. He's already Devin Hester, man. That's crazy. See, look at that.
I don't
It's not
know.
all kumbaya, everybody.
Yeah, I'm a. I mean, what do I know? I play Madden sometimes. Like that's as much football. I'm not a coach or anything.
Yeah, neither
But
am I.
but yeah, I would just because I guess I'm an Agnew fanboy.
That's fair.
The
That's
dude
fair.
is the dude is he's a real one, man. Like he comes out and he says like stuff that I'm feeling or whatever, and he had like crazy catches last year. And him off a jet sweep is like
Yes.
yeah, it's just really good. It's super fun to watch.
It's a thing of beauty. Yeah.
Yeah, and him on special teams, whatever, punt return, kick return, stuff like that. I mean, I guess they're not doing. They're trying to they're trying to stop all that. They're trying to like break special teams off at the knee,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
sucks. So I mean, yeah, his future should be at the wide receiver position.
I'll agree to disagree.
Gang.
All right, so that's about Jamal Agnew. So I think we're already, this was a short show. We didn't have anything to talk about. We're 47 minutes in. It's just kind of how it rolls. But we really enjoy it. We're going to use this last segment of the show to kind of talk about things that we've got going on. I'll start it off. So we have definitely all the socials. We are rolling out a new branding. We were hoping to do something pretty big, and that never really panned out, but that's okay. You'll start seeing our new logo rolling out along with some other branding. We also are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We'll probably start a Threads as well, but we're slowly growing, and we're going to eventually take over ESPN unless we get bought out by. Our price is steep; it's about $2 billion. So,
The
but
Billy,
what
Billy.
else we've got going on cooking, Cody?
So, so I want everybody that's listening right now to go and join our Discord, and it's Jaguars fan battle. Yeah, Jaguars fan battle. It's the top. It's our pinned tweet on Twitter. So at Jack's fan battle on Twitter. So when you go to the Discord in the future, we're going to be posting premium content, links to get on the podcast, chances to talk trash to other AFC South podcast hosts to their faces, giveaways, and more. Basically, what we're going to do is, if you're a Jaguars fan, you go to this Discord group. We're gonna vet you. We're gonna make sure that you're A1 day one. All that stuff, whatever. And then once we find out that you're a cool enough person or whatever, we could trust you to get on live and actually do this stuff or whatever. So it's trust me, it's fun. Talking trash on the internet is even more fun talking trash like face to face with somebody. I mean, through the virtual face to face, I should say. And it's all love here, whatever. At the end of the day, so strictly team related things. But yeah, man, it's super fun. I thought it'd be cool to like give our listeners premium content instead of like just tell them to come back, watch the show, come back, watch the show. It's all this stuff, whatever. You get to be a part of a group, a culture that we're trying to bring up out of the ashes, whatever. And I feel like that's something that a lot of other podcasts aren't doing. So they talk about the Jaguars, they give you the news and such, they read their reports and their statistics or whatever, like nerds. Shout out to them though, because that's actually tough. But that's not what we do here. We trash talk. That's why it's called the fan battle. And I think we need to get back to our roots on that, whatever. And bring fans forward to let them know, this is a place where you could do that. This is a safe space.
Yeah.
But no, it's your home, man. This is where you want to be right here, dude. And this is like this is the reason like football fans even talk about stuff like this during the off season. Like, all the stuff on Twitter on my news feed or whatever is like Titans fans, Jags fans, like going after each other or whatever. Other other teams like the Chargers and stuff like that. The few fans that they do have, or even coming out of the ant bed on Twitter and like talking trash or whatever. And that's what you could do here.
Mhm.
You could do that here, and it would be funny, and it would be good content. So yeah, man, join our Discord. Let us bring you into our cult, and then we'll go from there. We'll have fun. We'll drink the Kool-Aid. Be awesome.
Drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah. So everybody, head over to our Twitter. Cody manages our Twitter, and he does a fantastic job of managing it. He puts out some really neat, funny, creative content every day for everybody. And you can also locate the Discord link that he was talking about. In the future, we will also have a Patreon where you can, link up there as well and get some other premium content. Also, head over to fanbattlesports.com. Again, we are the Jacksonville Jaguars Fan Battle podcast, a part of the Fan Battle Sports Network. Please go to that website. You can go check out all the horrible teams within our division that aren't the Jaguars. But especially if you go over to the Jaguars blog, I have a really awesome article that I wrote this past week. Please go check it out. Share with your friends, share with your mom, share with your neighbor, with your dog, everybody. And let's grow this together. Any last words, Cody?
So the Colts suck, Titans suck, and the Texans suck. But the Texans know that. The Titans don't really know that. Whatever. That's ironic. It's weird. If they didn't have Derrick Henry, they would be the Browns, and not the Browns now, but the Browns from before. And the Colts suck, whatever. But they're getting there. Whatever. Kind of feel sorry for them. It's like that's a little baby. I remember being like the Colts or whatever when I had to truck Gardner Minshew out there and hopes for the future. But we're light years ahead of you now, so get used to it.
Get used to it. That's right. So you can find me at Matthew G Sports on Twitter. I'm still growing my Twitter. Please go like, follow, share, comment, all that stuff that you're supposed to do, I guess. Same with Cody Cold Gaming. You can find him on all the socials, but especially find us at Jags Fan Battle on Twitter. There you'll find everything that you'll ever need in your life. Other than that, go Jags.
Duval.